What if a simple ad for homework help could actually tell us a much, much bigger story? Well, today, we're going to deconstruct a very specific piece of text to understand this powerful market that really thrives on academic stress and, well, our universal desire to just get it right. So think back for a second. What was your toughest subject? Was it calculus, organic chemistry, maybe some philosophy class that just completely bent your brain? Just remember that feeling of staring at a problem, knowing you should understand it, but the pieces just aren't clicking. That feeling right there, that's exactly what we're diving into today. So in the source material we're looking at, that academic final boss is a programming language called Haskell. And believe me, for a lot of computer science students, this is the big wall they have to figure out how to climb. Okay, so let's look at how our source text actually builds the legend around this challenge. It doesn't just come out and say Haskell is hard. No, it's much more specific than that, and that is totally by design. Look at these terms. You don't even need to know what they mean. The source just lists out these really complex technical-sounding concepts, like recursion, higher-order functions, and that immediately sets up a really high barrier to entry. It's painting this picture of an intimidating, almost alien landscape for a student. And then it hits you with this. See, it's not just about being smart. It says you need logical thinking and consistent practice. So the source is framing success not just as, an intellectual win, but as a real test of your character, of your dedication. All of a sudden, the stakes feel incredibly high. And what's the natural result of high stakes and a bunch of intimidating concepts? Yep, stress. This is the emotional heart of the problem that's being set up. The source is making a direct line from an academic subject to a feeling every single student wants to avoid. But of course, after building up this whole mountain of difficulty and stress, the text immediately offers you a way down. Every story needs a hero, right? Or maybe a magical tool. And in this story, we get introduced to something they call a game changer. And here is the solution. It's positioned not just as, tutoring, but as specialized Haskell assignment help. And I want you to notice the language here, a real game changer. This isn't being sold as a small boost. It's being framed as something that will fundamentally shift your chances of success. And then the source just simplifies the entire path to success into this really clean 4-step process. It takes the messy, frustrating reality of actually learning something and reframes it as this clear, manageable transaction. It's an incredibly appealing promise, isn't it? So, what is this service really promising? Because it's not just about finishing one assignment. The value proposition they're offering is so much broader, and it speaks directly to the biggest anxieties of being a student. And this is the emotional payoff. Remember all that stress we talked about a second ago? Well, this is its polar opposite. This is the feeling every student is chasing, that aha moment where it all just clicks. So the service isn't just selling you the journey, it's selling you the destination. And here's exactly how they package that promise into real, tangible outcomes. You're not just getting your homework done, you're actually gaining understanding. You're not just going to pass, you're going to improve your grades. And most importantly, you're going to do it all while getting rid of that core negative feeling, stress. What we're looking at here is a classic transformation narrative. The source has built this simple, incredibly powerful before and after story. It offers to take a student from a place of stress and confusion and transport them to a place of understanding and success. It's the entire student journey, all condensed into one very appealing offer. Okay, so let's zoom out. Because this tiny little text about one single programming language, it actually reveals a much, much bigger dynamic. This is where the world of education meets the world of the market, where the pressures of modern learning create some very specific business opportunities. And the targeting is unbelievably specific. This isn't some global ad campaign. The source is aimed directly at Australian university students. It just goes to show you how a market can be built not just around a subject, but around a specific group of people in a specific place. When you look at it this way, this whole dynamic is just a perfect feedback loop. On one side, you have these universal student challenges. Things are hard, and it causes stress. And on the other side, you have a direct market response that has evolved to meet those exact pain points, with promises of support, relief, and of course, success. So all of this leaves us with a bigger question, right? The ad we just deconstructed presents a really clear market solution to an academic problem, but it forces us to think about the whole landscape of learning. I mean, in the face of all this academic pressure, Where do we draw the line between helpful guidance and a necessary crutch? When does support stop being an option and start feeling absolutely essential?